I get it.
So it is a difference, and embracing that difference is what we're challenged with. Like, why can't, even with Christianity, growing up, I grew up with all of those sayings, and some are sayings, some I found out later weren't in the Bible, and later in my adulthood and going to seminary, I learned different. So my theology about having cancer, right? Some people in the beginning said to me, well, God gave it to you because God knew that you could deal with it and you were strong enough and you are going to send a message out to the world. No, that's a twisted theology to me for a loving God, a gracious God, a compassionate God, a graceful and merciful God. No, the world, I got cancer because of the world, because of the toxicity in the world, and because of God's grace, I'm still here. Because of God's grace and healing power, I'm still here. But God didn't need to give that to me to prove a message. But that's somebody's theology. So I could, but I don't. I don't come back at them and say, well, that's a twisted theology and ruin their belief. But we have a dialogue about it. Well, I hear you, and this is my theology.
You know what's beautiful about the Creator and the creation is everyone has a right to their story.
Absolutely. And they're all stories.
I mean, if there's one thing about the Creator, it is unlimited. Unlimited. Whatever unlimited is. Right.
You
can't limit.
Right. We're in here.
Like my story might not fit with your story.
That's right.
And, I mean, I might be able to learn from you and we might be able to grow together, but to lock me into your worldview is just another example of the enslavement that we've endured. Absolutely. And we've transcended it into something else.
Absolutely. It's that individual thought that it's all about me, perfectionism, I got to get mine, you get yours. That's all white supremacy. You know, so if we come together, we have more alike, you and I, with different religious traditions, we have more in common than we do differences. If we focus on those commonalities, we're able to then build relationship, build trust, and move through this world where I can honor and respect you for not celebrating Christmas per se, and you honoring and respecting the fact that I do. It doesn't become this personal insult because I don't do things the way you want me to do things.
I mean, but then again, we're talking about maturity.
Yeah.
You see, it's hard to expect adult behavior from children.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, it may be impossible.
It may be impossible.
So most of the time, we're expecting folks to do things that they are not fundamentally developed and capable of doing.
Very true.
So that being said, I want to talk to you about, the cancer. Can we just say it like that?
Yeah, please do. Because I grew up with the big C.
Right.
Or that thing.
Right.
Or, you know, they had that illness. No, we need to say it. Because we say it, we name it. When we talk about Jesus calling out the Jesus named the demon to call it out. Didn't say whoever you are. We got to face these things and name these things in order to fix it. So yes, we can say, let's talk about cancer.
Well, I can tell you this. All the time I've been around, and all of us know everybody has succumbed in some way, shape, or form to cancer. I never heard like a conversation like, let's talk about black folks. Let's talk about cancer.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. It means death to so many people, and it's scary, and it incites fear in folk. Because I know my grandparents, I would hear them say, "I'm not going to the doctor." Why would I go to the doctor to find out what we already know? I'm already dying. We're all gonna die, so I don't want to know. If I have cancer, then just let me just live and move forward. Because it's like a death sentence. It incites fear into folks. So we don't talk, especially for us, because we don't have access to health care, or the best health care, or any health care at all. And then for breast cancer in particular, we're not the highest rate diagnosed.
But we're the highest ones dying.
We're the highest ones dying. We are diagnosed at a lesser rate than white women. But our death rate is much higher than white women.
I need you to say that one more time.
Yeah. So we're diagnosed at a lesser rate than white women, but we die at higher rates than white women.
Now, why is that in terms of, let me just put it out. Why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's several things. One, as we just said, the lack of access to health care.
Okay.
Adequate health care. Fear, late diagnosis, once you're diagnosed, not following up and following through with the treatment plan. So whether it's not having the money to do that, because we know these insurance plans, you got to spend thousands of dollars in order for you to receive adequate health care. I think one chemotherapy treatment for me is like $9,000.
Oh, $9K, one treatment. Oof.
One.
You know, they say also, and it is a fact that even black folks who have adequate health insurance, they are referred to tests less often.
Yes.
They are given pain medication less often. They're not given certain information because there's these biases that you're not going to follow up anyway. So sometimes we can have access and still receive subpar service or death.
That's right. That's why we do what we do, with whether it's with Cancer Cannot or the Stomp Out Breast Cancer Foundation, is to let black women know that you have a right to walk in there, and if you don't understand something, ask a question. If you don't agree with something, challenge it. Get a second opinion. This is your life. And people actually don't know that, and they walk in there and they say, okay, I'll deal with the pain because pain medicine is addictive, so they don't want, no, manage my pain. They don't know how to manage a black woman's pain. They don't understand our cultural and spiritual beliefs, so they think that, you know what, they're not going to understand. They are not going to understand. They're not going to follow me. So, you know what, I'm not even going to bother to give them the information. And quite frankly, racism is real in the medical field as well.
Wow, you know, I had a great friend, Theron Bell, older gentleman, very accomplished, and whenever we would talk about breast cancer, because that's a specific type of cancer. There are many types of cancer. He would say, and men get breast cancer too.
That's right.
Now, most folks don't know that. But he's a breast cancer survivor, was a breast cancer survivor, but he would always underscore whenever we would talk about cancer, he would say, and men get breast cancer too, because men have breasts.
And that's important. That's so important. Even with the Stomp Out Breast Cancer Foundation, we give out grants every year. We had to change our own language. We had to check ourselves because we were talking about black women, black women, black women. We're like, wait a minute. But black men get breast cancer too. So if there's a black man in the Colorado area who's in active treatment, they too can apply for this grant at the Stomp Out Breast Cancer Foundation Incorporated. We had to check ourselves on that.
I can tell you, I want to back up a couple of steps because Reverend Tawana, I just remember all of the work that you've done with Shorter Community AME Church. And I remember all the annual breast cancer walks. And I remember we would meet at the cultural center and we walk with the sisters all through the community, and the sisters would have pink and folks would be honking and people would be waving and, you know, clapping, seeing these black women, you know, just moving and navigating through the community. And you were at the forefront of there. You were supporting these sisters. You were at the pushing the movement. And then the next thing, bam, Reverend T enters the number. You know, we would have those conversations about how many years there was a survivor amongst us, recognize the ones that have moved on into the ancestor realm. And then we get a message, Reverend Tawana. Boom. I could say it was like I got hit in the gut. So I can only imagine what it was like for you going to a doctor and then getting this information. What was that story? How did that unfold? And then where did you land after like hearing that you had cancer?
Yeah, so my involvement with volunteerism and activism with breast cancer awareness started when I was in Harlem. I, for some reason, have always been drawn to that cause and really bringing awareness to the black community as it relates to breast cancer. So when I came to Denver, it followed me, and we had an amazing ministry at Shorter, so I continued to lead those efforts. And I was the type of person where if something didn't feel right, I paid attention to my body.
Right.
So if I felt a sinus infection coming, and I would go to the doctor. So I felt a swollen something. At the time, I didn't know it was a lymph node. So under my left armpit, it was something swollen. It was kind of sore. And I was like, well, let me go to the doctor. So I went to my primary care. She's beautiful. And she said, okay, I'm going to refer you to the breast clinic. Now, mind you, I must say that I have a great team of doctors that have been totally antithetical to what I know that's happening out there in the world to other black women. So she said, I'm going to send you to the breast clinic. I go to the breast clinic. They do a mammogram. And I just had a mammogram in May of 2016. This is November of 2016. May of 2016 didn't show anything on my mammogram. So in November of 2016, feel the nodule, go to the doctor. They send me to the breast clinic. A few days later, my daughter and I, we go to the breast center, and they do another mammogram. Doesn't show up. So they have to do an ultrasound because the doctor knows that it's something.
Right, because the lab's coming back.
It's something.
Yeah.
So they do the ultrasound, and they find two tumors. One was like right above my rib cage.
Okay.
So when women have a mammogram, you're really putting your breast in between these two plates.
Right.
So if it's not in that tissue, in that dense tissue,
Right.
it's easy to miss the tumor that's more on my skin down here by my breast, my rib cage, and then one all the way on the side. So the mammogram didn't pick it up, but the ultrasound picked it up. So when we got the ultrasound pictures back, before they even did the biopsy, the doctor said, okay, I'm going to tell you this because I've been doing this for 25 years. This is cancer.
Right.
And my daughter just fell out. So they did the biopsy to make sure, because cancer cells look
Right.
deformed. They look
way.
a particular way. So she knew in the ultrasound. So they did the biopsy, and that's when I knew that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was diagnosed with HER2 positive breast cancer, which
What is
means
that called again?
HER2, H-E-R,
Okay.
the number 2,
Okay.
and a plus sign for
Okay.
positive. So there's estrogen-fed cancers, something, PR, and then HER2 positive. Or you can be triple negative. It's so confusing. Like breast cancer just can't be breast cancer. It has all these different components to it. You can be diagnosed with a certain type. So I have HER2 positive, which is one of the most aggressive cancers. So from the time I was diagnosed, my tumors like doubled and tripled in size.
That's amazing.
So they had to do the surgery. They did the treatment first so that the cancer didn't continue to grow. Then they did the surgery. Then they were going to do radiation. And then when I was in the radiation mapping, and again, it's all technical jargon, but to make a long story short, I had a recurrence between finishing my treatment in March and going for surgery in May, and then radiation planning in June. I had a recurrence.
Whew.
All my cancer came back.
So what happens mentally? What's going on, Tawana? Reverend Tawana, activist, leader, front of the line,
Yep.
all of this, giving, sharing. Where are you at? What happens mentally?
Why me? Why is this happening? My mother died of multiple myeloma, which is cancer of the bone marrow. She died in 1993 when I was 23 years young. So I'm like, I know what my mother went through. I know what chemo does to the body. Why is this happening to me? And on the flip side, I had a sense of gratitude that I had a team of doctors that was on it. They were on it. Like, okay, we're not going in to do surgery again because you'll be further deformed. So you need to go get a second opinion. That second opinion told me to get on this clinical trial. Got on the clinical trial, was cancer-free for a year, if you will. I don't even know how I use that term. I usually don't use that term, but no evidence of disease for a year. And then I had another recurrence this year in March.
So, Reverend T, what do you say to this sister who's watching right now, and she's just like, I need to go check on this, or maybe it's not. Maybe what's your message to anyone that's just kind of in that place of, I know, but I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. Right.
In the midst of the fear, in the midst of the concern, in the midst of the trauma, we have got to love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves and to get checked. Even feel the fear. I get it. I'm not going to tell you not to fear. I'm not going to quote any scriptures are real. God's word is true. But when we take it out of context and we tell people not to fear and not to feel, this is what happens. They don't go and get a mammogram. So you got to feel that and allow that to push you to a place that you'll receive the care that you need. Take somebody with you. If you're scared to go alone, there are organizations out there. There are sisters and brothers out there that will journey with you and go with you to get the mammogram. But you got to get checked. That I rarely use have to, must, gotta. But in this situation, especially if you know that someone in your family has had breast cancer, or if you feel something, because we should be doing self-examinations, love ourselves enough to feel our boobies, to feel on ourselves, to make sure nothing is there, go and get a mammogram. That is so important.
Wow, so much information, so much that we've got to unpack. I don't know if they're truths or legends or not. Black folks said if you cut us open, the cancer's going to spread.
That's my Nana. My Nana said that. All the time. Don't cut me open.
Because it's going to spread.
It's going to spread. Not true.
That's not true.
Not true.
Okay, now there's another thing. Sisters and that hair. We won't even go swimming.
So let me tell you what's so profound about the picture that you used for this moment. So I didn't have any hair. That is a very expensive lace front wig.
Yes. That's Beyonce.
I'm saying the hair is real. So lost, eyebrows, eyelashes, all of my hair. And then I learned to love myself prior to this diagnosis. So when I was diagnosed and when I lost my hair, I learned to grieve that and still love myself. But I had to grieve it though. Like some people will say, oh, it's just hair, because you ain't losing it. You ain't diagnosed with cancer. You don't have to worry about it. It's not just hair. It's a part of my body, like my arm, my fingers, my legs. It's a part of me. It's a part of my identity. It's a part of a bigger picture. It's not my identity, but it's a part of who I am. So when, I think it's India Arie who says that I am not my hair.
Okay.
So true. So I am not my hair, but it is a part of who I am.
Well,
so when I lose it, I gotta grieve.
But now we got the breasts.
So we in this. We already warned y'all, right? So you got the warning. So if you're watching, you really want to know what's going on. So these are not my breasts. These are tissue expanders because I had radiation. And what happens is tissue expanders. They're very heavy. They're very uncomfortable. They're like a protection. Like a temporary placeholder, first of all, so when I get breast implants, the shape is already there because they have to stretch the skin. Because remember, when I had surgery, all of the tissue, skin was cut out, nipple gone, all of that is taken away. Because there are if the pathology report shows, they usually remove all of that for precaution, but especially if the pathology report shows, yes, you are at stage 4, whatever, we need to make sure all of that breast tissue is removed. So I have these tissue expanders, and then in January, they'll swap out these tissue expanders. They're made with like metal and this other protective coating. So when I had radiation, it didn't affect my heart and my lungs. So if I had regular implants, the radiation would have shrunk it. So one breast would have been like all shriveled up, and the other breast would have been looking all nice and, you know, redone and all that. So tissue expanders kind of saves the body, saves the skin, if you will, and then you'll get the regular breast implants subsequently after you've healed and all that.
Reverend T, how does the average ordinary person pay for this?
Yeah.
Like, is this? Are we talking about life and death in this country as it relates to your ability to afford to live?
Yes.
Because there are some that don't have access to health care, others that can't afford health care, others that are working and they're paying bills and they're doing all that, but they've got to sacrifice paying for insurance. How does someone navigate paying for the cost of staying alive?
Yeah, those decisions, some people have to make a decision of whether to eat or to get this done and pay this medical bill. That's the reality. It's a sad reality of it. My dear friend, Rochelle Fry-Skinner, breast cancer survivor, she always says she had insurance and her husband had insurance, and they still had Apollo bills. Both of them had insurance. So when we make these choices, it's a choice. So when you have reconstructive surgery, it's not considered cosmetic. It's considered a part of the treatment plan, which is a good thing because then insurance will cover it. But even with insurance covering it, if you have an insurance that you have to meet a certain out-of-pocket first before the insurance kicks in, you may end up paying like $6,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is before the insurance even kicks in, and then they'll pay 80% and you still got to pay 20%.
But 20% of a $9,000 one treatment,
Absolutely.
20%, that's going, Reverend T, it's going to take me out.
Yep.
One treatment's gonna, all them assets is gone.
I had, I won't say what type of insurance I had because I don't know if it's good for everybody. The plan that I had was really good, where one treatment I would meet my deductible. So I had the rest of the year to pay off that, you know, $3,000 or whatever it was that I had to pay out of pocket, and then I never had to pay out of pocket again.
Right.
So my doctors, we would actually strategically plan surgeries, because if I did the surgery in December, then January I have to start all over. So if I get the surgery and the treatment done in January of the next year, then I meet my deductible and then I pay less money for the surgery.
Well, you know, you've been doing some incredible work and you've got a big event coming up. Aren't you working on a big event? What do you, Reverend T, what do you got planned? What's happening?
Hope for the Holidays.
Okay, what is that? Hope for the Holidays.
Yes, so the Stomp Out Breast Cancer Foundation, every year in December, we have an event called Hope for the Holidays. This is our third annual event. It'll be at Laundry on Lawrence, the wonderful people at Laundry on Lawrence, the beautiful space at Laundry on Lawrence, 2701 Lawrence Street, December 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. What we do is we celebrate life. We learn to celebrate in the midst of diagnosis. We learn to celebrate in the midst of trauma. We learn to celebrate life even though life hasn't been too kind to us. We learn to celebrate community in these moments, and we raise enough money to give grants to women who are in active treatment to cover those costs that insurance won't cover. Like, if I have to take an Uber, because not everybody can drive. There was a time when I could barely walk. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't eat with metal utensils because they tasted horrible because the chemotherapy messed up my taste buds. And my kids had to cook for me. They had to do my laundry. They had to make my bed because I couldn't lift my arms like that. Like, this is a blessing right now. Just for me to lift my arms. I couldn't do this. So it helps women with all those other things, whether it's house cleaning, catching a ride, paying for insurance, medicine co-pays, getting wigs, getting a lymphedema sleeve. I usually wear a lymphedema sleeve, a compression sleeve, excuse me, so that I don't get lymphedema because I had lymph nodes removed from my left arm. So it helps to pay for all of that. So we try to give, depending on how much money we raise. Last year we were able to bless 3 women with a $1,000 grant.
All right.
And we don't ask for receipts. We don't ask for, you just tell us what you need. If you need groceries, we go and we disperse the money in quarters so that you always know that you have $250 coming. So if you need a lymphedema sleeve, a compression sleeve, we'll pay for it. We'll order it, and then we'll put it on our card. You need groceries, we'll give you a $250 King Soopers card. You need cleaning, have the cleaning service call us, and we'll pay them for your house cleaning, whatever it is. We don't, nickel and dime. I don't want to know how much money you make, because quite frankly, none of us make enough money to cover whatever we're going through, and it gives us a peace of mind and support, that feeling of support when we're able to give financially for those things that insurance won't pay for.
Now, if someone, before we talk about how to get the tickets, how to participate, what if someone wanted to just get in touch with you and wanted to drop some, boom?
That's all they have to do.
How do they reach you?
The phone number is, because now chemo brain is real. Let me tell y'all that.
So
I don't remember
brain?
nothing. So chemotherapy affects your brain cells and your memory. So there are times when I could be mid-sentence and I'll be like, what was I saying?
I know.
I know. So I do have to look up the number, but you can reach us at 720. Okay, I have to look it up online. But while I'm doing that,
okay.
You can also paypal.me/stompoutbreastcancer, all one word. That's a way to donate. You can mail a check to Laundry at Lawrence, Suite 13.
Okay.
You can mail a check that way, or you can call us, and as soon as I get the number, I will give it to you.
And they can reach you on social media.
They can reach us on social media. We have a Stomp Out Breast Cancer page. It says Stomp Out Breast Cancer Foundation. Hope for the Holidays is listed as an event, so you can feel free to check that out as well. Yeah, and as soon as I find the phone number, I'll be happy to give it to you. Yeah.
In the meantime, we got to show some love to Reverend.
Oh, here it is. Yes, 720-440-2262. And you can call that number, 720-440-2262. If you want to attend the event is free.
It's a free event.
No tickets. It is a free event. We are coming to celebrate. We'll have hors d'oeuvres. We'll have music. We'll have past grant recipients. We'll have current survivors, those in the process of active treatment, their family members, caregivers, friends, family. Just come on through, have a good time with us, and you'll get to meet the new 2020 grant recipients as well.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We talked about cancer today, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Reverend
Yes,
T,
we did.